What is up, Bear Nation? It's your boy Animal, and I am here to talk about the new Etalus patch, the buffs, the nerfs, and everything in between. I just got off my first session with the new patch. I was playing with Marlin. It was fun games, definitely an adjustment. And I also just played my first ranked match. I'll post both of those in a bit. But first, let's talk about the new patch. And I can start by addressing the Loxodont in the room, if you will, which is the devs targeting me specifically by taking out Falling Bear Hug. Now, I pretty much got confirmation that they sent the devs clips of me doing it. And the rationale that they said was that they are reverting Etalus to how it worked in Rivals 1. But I think a lot of people agree that it didn't need to be taken out. And I am one of those people. I don't think it needed to be taken out. I think it was definitely had counterplay. Just don't go low, or mix up your recovery. Don't ride the wall. I don't think it was so overpowered or so broken at low percents. You could still recover. But I don't think taking it out is a humongous nerf. But we can talk about some of the other nuances of these buffs and nerfs. But do I think the devs want to see me lose and fail? I do. I do feel that way. And I'm going to keep winning no matter what. No patch is going to stop me from winning unless Dan patches Etalus where he rips his limbs off or something. But otherwise, I will stay winning. So do not worry about me. I'm actually not that depressed about the Falling Bear Hug taken out. But I can start here by talking about my general feelings. So let me start by saying I know there's feelings in the community that feel like the advancements we made with the flat Stanley, which is, if you don't know, that's the Upbe or grounded Upbe combos you can do. You might have seen Phoenix Clips doing it. It's quite stylish. And the Falling Bear Hug, I don't think these are like the devs specifically saying, hey, because you guys were innovating and pushing the meta, we are going to punish you for that. Like, I don't think that's the right mindset. I don't think that's the intention. In fact, I think, if anything, this patch shows that they're showing Etalus quite a bit of love. They have some very good buffs in this patch that are easily noticeable, that upon first time trying, I saw improvements in areas like recovery, in the fair, using fair armor. They're clearly showing love to Etalus. So I think it's unfair to just say that this was like a targeted attack on all fronts to tech. Do I think it was necessary for either of them to be taken out? Again, not really. I already explained the Falling Bear Hug. I'll briefly just talk about flat Stanleys. I never use them. If you looked at my VODs, I don't use them. I don't think it was always an optimal option. I'm not someone who's always optimal all the time anyways, but it's just something I didn't see as like, if you're not doing this, you are going to lose type of tech, in my opinion. So it was pretty much just very flashy, very stylish. So to take that out does, I guess, it does rub some people the wrong way, but I don't think it was like a groundbreaking tech for us that made Etalus necessarily better. So having that being gone and having Falling Bear Hug being gone, while unfortunate, it does not present humongous hurdles, although I need to play Sophie Zetter to really determine how much not having Falling Bear Hug is going to be tougher to edgeguard them, especially with the Upbe spike nerf as well, because if you didn't know, Sophie was pretty much the catalyst of why Falling Bear Hug was even created. I was getting frustrated that they would just tech all of my Upbe spikes, and me and Lynn came up with the Falling Bear Hug as a counter. So I need to play more Zetters to really get a feel on like how hard it is to edgeguard Zetter when they go low, especially with it being harder to Upbe spike. But that being said, I don't think those two techs in particular are like the end of the world that they're gone. And if I don't feel that way, that it's someone who used Falling Bear Hug probably the most. uh, you know, I don't think Bear Nation should feel totally upset about it either. Now, what I will say though is that I think there are some unintended consequences to the nerfs. And it's not exactly Falling Bear Hug that I'm upset about being removed. What I'm a little bit concerned about is the fact that other edge guards that were very crucial for Etalus could be impacted by being able to tech the wall. So, for example, a very crucial edge guarding tool in the Orcane matchup was up airing Orcane side B. If Orcane carelessly side B'd, you were able to just jump out, up air it, and punish quite heavily. It's not the easiest matchup in the world, so having a tool like that's quite good. I'm pretty fearful that if Orcane side B's near the wall, that if we jump down and up air it, they could just tech out of it, which would be pretty tough. That'd be a pretty big disadvantage or a pretty big loss in edge guarding. I also feel this way with Claren. Me and Spade started up airing Claren side B as they try to side B to the wall, which was working quite well. And I'm afraid that's going to be taken out. So I think there's like some unintended consequences to changing Falling Bear Hug, and the fact that you can tech up air that I'm a little bit concerned about. Not exactly like Falling Bear Hug itself, but like edge guards like that were actually like very crucial. Even Crag wall jumping back. You know how Crag does like they bounce around like a pinball off between their shield break jump and the wall. I would just place myself in between them and the ledge and basically up air them. And if they can tech that now, yeah, that's like a setup that was very good that obviously is gone. So that is a little bit more concerning. That seems to me like a little bit more of a realistic nerf. And I will say for Upbe, in my session, in my ranked and in my session with Marlon, I was able to get Upbe spikes still. The timing's a little bit, it just feels a little, it's just different. You know, it's a little slower, so you gotta get used to the timing. It doesn't feel amazing, the timing. Like, I guess the word is intuitive. Of course, I'm so used to the other timing. But it still was able to happen. It still did work. So I think that's something within time I can get more used to. And yeah, so I think it felt a little bit weird off stage to kind of edge guard with it, but it's still possible. But I can talk about the buffs a little bit now because I definitely noticed some buffs right away. The Upbe recovery is quite good. The fact that we can act out of it a lot quicker is very nice. I was able to avoid a lot more, air dodge a lot easier out of my Upbe. I was able to not all the time. I think I used it once or twice, but use fair armor. I think I did it one time I can think of specifically to block and attack Marlon trying to edge guard. I was able to use the fair armor to kind of help me get back. And that felt pretty good, and I could see the potential there. Using fair armor is not wired in my brain yet, but I definitely see the benefits. And I'm definitely noticing that fair is hitting hard. Fair is hitting harder. Having more percent feels nice. It feeling quicker is nice. It definitely kills earlier. That's nice. Here is one little concern I do have. And I've kind of had this concern about fair for a while. But I think this patch did solve some of my concerns in some ways. I think it's been a feeling for the top Etalus players for a little bit that fair is somewhat of a fraudulent move that was going to catch up to us. It's like in the distant meta, I can see this being an issue. It's not an issue right now, but my hypothesis, if you will, was that when we use fair and the fair armor comes out, the fair armor is not good enough for it to be a bluff that we're just like empty hop fairing. If you see the armor out, it's probably a good guess that the fair, we are going to let rip the fair. And I think that's very easily parryable. I think it's a pretty telegraphed move, even. which I don't think is that hard of a take. You literally have the armor first, then the attack. So to me, it was only a matter of time before a big neutral tool of ours was going to be countered as people had more experience with it. However, I was kind of worried that buffing this move was kind of going to go to waste for that reason, because I think the move's not as good as people think. But with the new changes and fair armor actually being viable, I think this does solve some of that issue and concern that it's realistic that I could empty hop fair armor, because fair armor actually does work and is good. Like, I could use it to block an attack. So even if someone wants to try to guess that my fair armor is out and they're going to rip parry, I could very easily just hold the fair armor and get the grab, and it's now a very nice mix-up. So I'm actually very happy about that change. Every Etalus I've talked to pretty much universally agrees that the fair buffs feel very crisp, very nice, very powerful, and it should feel like a powerful punch from him. So I definitely like that. I'll go into some of the other buffs. Small buff, I think grabbing ledge easier, or like heightening the range where we can sweet spot. Obviously very nice. The armor changes is not something, anyone who's watched my VODs, you know I don't really use armor that much. And taking it away, or it not going away after a down throw, to me is, I need to play around with it more. I guess my thought is that I'm not sure if it's enough incentive for me to still actively want to go for. I think getting armor in itself is not, one, it's not easy, and two, you're giving up a lot of stage control. So for example, not only like, am I spending my time while they're off stage getting the ice, it removes the ice from the ground, and now like basically by the time that happens, they're back. I have no ice on the ground. So I feel like the game plan is pretty telegraphed, right? Like, going for the grab is pretty telegraphed. The moves are not significantly stronger, or like, or stronger, by having the armor on necessarily. And I feel like I'm just kind of combo food. I feel like when I'm in armor, I get comboed and the armor breaks anyway. I think it's not like it's bad to have the empowered down throw stay. Like, that's obviously a good thing. It's just still not enough incentive for me personally, I think, to feel incentivized like, oh wow, to win with Etalus, I need to have armor and go for armor. I don't feel that way yet. And if they want the mechanic to feel important, or if they want that to be a core part of Etalus, I think they need to make it feel that way. At the moment, I don't. And I'm kind of cool with that, because I like playing without armor. There are aspects of armor I do want to try to use more. I think there is interesting strategy there that I think I can utilize a bit better. So I am going to experiment with it. If you watch my VODs, I'm going to try. Although I didn't do a great job experimenting with it today. I think I might have caught Marlin with a few things, maybe once or twice. But overall, I don't see it as like a big incentive to use armor still. But I am going to give it a try and see how I feel about it. But overall, I don't think it accomplishes making armor feel significant, or making armor feel like you need to have it or you need to utilize it to win. I don't feel that way. But I had a video I made yesterday, and I realized that I need to let this patch cook a bit more. What I will say is that the nerfs on the other characters are quite nice. So like, this is all relative as well. So seeing a lot of the characters get nerfed, not every character, and not always consistently, of course. There's a lot of characters, Rano, that are largely unchanged, and even got some soft buffs like the consistent up air, and even the fact that back air still exists is a buff in itself. But they did make some changes that definitely are noticeable for the other characters. That helps us as Bear Nation for sure. So overall, I'm feeling pretty good. I think there are some adjustments, and I think wiring fair armor into my brain is going to take some time to get good at least, or to get good with. But I do see potential in it, and I do like that buff. And I don't think like the other small nerfs would be like the dare end lag. It's fine. It's not like it's where it should be. It feels good. It still feels good. It feels good to hit. You should be doing it safe. There's no reason why you should have been doing it unsafe on shield and expect not to get punished. So I don't mind getting punished for a bad dare. You should be crossing up the shield anyways or spacing it right. And also, I'm still landing the reverse hit on back air. That hitbox got reduced, but I still landed it a few times. I didn't notice a humongous difference. I think that's fine. I think like you should reward, you know, trying to get like the dash attack raw bear, and I still even missing the dash attack raw bear, I was still able to get reverse bear. So I didn't think those were overly significant. I think the buffs we did get, the recovery does feel better. Um, I know the Etalus Discord was talking about some situations, like because the startup is slower, things like Fleet Dare, Raster Dare, Crag Rock is actually harder to react to because when you up B, you're there for a bit longer. It's kind of just easier to spike you. I haven't experienced that yet, and even versus Marlin, I didn't really get dared that many times. So I can't speak to that, but overall, what I can say is like being able to act quicker out of Upbe I've already seen like the buff of that. Like that's a good buff that we should be happy about. I think we're kind of eating a little bit for sure. Like I think we got some really good tools and didn't lose that much as compensation. One last thing I want to say about the patch is that I thought it would give me a better idea of Edalus's identity, where he was going, how the devs viewed him as a character, and like the vision they have for Etalus would be more fleshed out. But honestly, I'm just left a little bit more lost and confused. I don't have a better sense. In fact, I think it's even more muddy than before. The direction they took Etalus is not the one I was predicting. What they changed, you know, they took away some of his edge guarding power, which I thought is what they wanted him to be. And they increased his fair, which is obviously a good neutral tool, and they showed some love to the fair armor, but that definitely does change how he plays in neutral. It definitely changes his dynamics a little bit. And I don't have a strong sense of like what type of character they think a fully realized Etalus should look like. I think that's evident in the mechanics that they've implemented, like armor and ice shield. Um, don't feel fully realized, don't feel too coherent yet. And I think it's pretty inherent in how he's playing. It's clearly a different vision than the direction they were going in, but not in a way that gives him a clear direction. He kind of feels a little bit lost, and if I'm being a little bit vague, it's because I'm a little bit confused about where they want him to go. I thought he was working quite well as this like heavy, little bit of rush down, but still has like a fair to keep up with like some matchups that he could wall people out with. Um, and he does still have some of that, but it's not quite. They didn't quite push him in any strong direction, showing like what they want him to be. He still feels kind of like lost. And yeah, I don't know if the devs have a strong identity for him in mind. So that's something to look out for the future. It's something to keep in mind. But that's it for me. Let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate everyone watching the videos. I never really had the chance to get on here and thank everybody, but If you enjoy the VODs, I do them for the community. I do them because I want to see Bear Nation get better, grow. Even if it's one thing you learn from a video, that means a lot. That makes it worth it for me. And I appreciate all the support. I've gotten a lot of support for doing this, and it means, it's awesome to see. Couldn't do this without Etalus Nation in the Discord, helping me flesh out my ideas, constantly trying to think of new things and ways to push Etalus forward. So shout outs to everyone in there as well, and catch you in the next video.